Because of the cultural mix in our municipality, a lot of our clientele, probably most of them really, are from cultures other than white Anglo-Australian, and where English is their second language or third language. So if we're finding it hard to understand a client, quite often now we have someone in the place that can either speak fluently in their language or can actually understand their issues better than we can, whether that's language or culture that's causing it difficult for say us. And then that then fosters more and greater clientele again, and it kind of spreads from that. And then the volunteer who's helped us out by being able to translate or converse in that other language, it helps us out because they feel like they're doing a really important job, which they are, and then they stay with us, because you can lose a lot of volunteers when they're not feeling appreciated, or they feel what they're doing isn't important. So there's all these sort of 2- and 3-way streets start happening, and those benefits really spread. The reason our organisation, if you walk into it, seems so multicultural and reflects the community we're in, which is the city of Darebin, is because simply by having a greater cultural diversity in your workplace or your organisation just seems to very quickly promote further multiculturalism. We know from our own volunteers that they've said to us sometimes when they're from a culture other than English or white Anglo-Australian, that they immediately felt more comfortable because they could just visually see a mix of cultures, and quite often cultures similar to their own or their own. So I would suggest to organisations that they could very quickly become more representative of their clientele or the community they're in by just putting in a little extra effort and being conscious that you want to increase that cultural diversity. We do see organisations or individuals within the organisation sometimes a bit reticent when they perceive that the volunteer, their English language skills are not as proficient as perhaps they would have hoped. But the reality in most cases that we come across is that the English being a second language or a third language for that volunteer in no way stops them from doing a brilliant job in the actual job. It's very rare, I think, probably that they wouldn't be able to be placed in a particular job doing particular tasks because their first language isn't English. If people perceive that it's a bit more difficult, I think they'll find A, the benefits far outweigh any difficulties they've perceived, and B, I think once they start actually putting a bit of effort in and changing their thinking a bit, they realise it's actually not much effort required. So we would never take a backward step now from the sort of cultural mix we have, and being much more conscious of how to make people from other cultural backgrounds more comfortable in our organisation.